Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm one of the guest programmers for the Open Development stream. I'm from Royal Holloway University London and also Plan International. When the call went out for guest programmers for Open Knowledge Festival back in February, we kind of had a crazy idea to have an Open Development stream. Possibly the first time this had been tried in open knowledge kind of context. So one of the things we really wanted to do was actually bring lots and lots of voices into the discussion around open development. So in that spirit, I'm going to hand this summary over to some of those contributors and guest programmers who have been involved in this stream.
Hi, my name is John Duno from iLab Africa, Strathmore University, based in Nairobi. This was a great opportunity to come network with all the people interested in open development and open data. It was great to share our experiences so that others can avoid the painful things we went through and they can gain from the successful things that we've gone through. One challenge that came out that we should address is finding how the tech community, the development experts, and the government can speak one language in a forum like this so that we can benefit from each other's expertise. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Matt O'Reilly from the Indigo Trust, and this year's OK Fest was a really fantastic opportunity to get to hear from some different voices from Uganda, from Kenya, from El Salvador, and not just from the guys in the UK or the US or Germany. And my favourite session was a live link up with Africa's tech and innovation hubs. We had about 20 from across the continent who came online, contributed, talked about their work in open development and the challenges that they face in their own countries. And it was a really fantastic opportunity for people to learn about the tech scene that's been growing in Africa over the last 4 or 5 years. And I'm really glad that we were able to get so many people involved and interested. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Barbara.
Thank you. Barbara Birungi from Hive Collab in Uganda, which is a tech innovation hub. For me, the highlight at this conference has been learning to collaborate with different stakeholders that are trying to get open data to citizens and to communities in Africa and in Uganda, and also finding ways of getting open data relevant to people, not just opening up data, but what is relevant, getting people what they will actually use, and also getting governments to be involved in open data, knowing that it's not just citizen driven, but also governments are for this. How do we get governments to know that open data is for them and actually not against them?
Hola, mi nombre es David y vengo de El Salvador.
Hi, my name is David. I'm coming from El Salvador.
Lo que me gustó del OK Fest fue
What I liked about OK Fest was
cómo el desarrollo abierto es una herramienta para ayudar a mejorar la vida en las comunidades.
that open development can be a way to really help people at the community level.
Lo otro que me gustó fue el diseño abierto.
I also really liked the open design sessions.
Herramientas sencillas que ayudan a pensar diferente a los niños y las niñas y jóvenes de las comunidades.
These are simple tools that can help children and young people in communities think differently.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Max de El Salvador.
Hi, I'm Max from El Salvador.
La sesión que más me gustó fue la de que decía que el desarrollo abierto es una canción de libertad,
The session I liked best was the open development is a freedom song session.
porque nos sentimos como una comunidad en igualdad de condiciones.
So we felt like part of a community and we felt that all the conditions were equal. We felt an equal part of the community.
Y sentimos como salvadoreños que debemos y tenemos que implementar estas iniciativas.
And we felt that as Salvadorans we should and we will implement these different initiatives.
También el diseño abierto fue muy interesante para nosotros
Also, the open design was quite interesting for us
por el tipo de proyectos que desarrollamos en las comunidades.
due to the kind of projects that we're implementing in communities.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Duncan Edwards. I'm from the Institute of Development Studies in the UK, and the highlight for me at the Open Development stream at the OK Festival was the Open Development was the Freedom Song. And for me, what was really interesting about that was we had a revolving panel of 25 people, and there was very little conversation about technology, which I think is refreshing, because I think the open development conversation has tended to be quite closed in that a lot of the issues discussed have been around technology. But this time the conversation was about power, politics, and how openness looks very different from where you're sat in a process. So that was a really real highlight for me, so thank you.
Hello, my name is Pernilla Näsfors. I work for the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, SIDA. I am here at the festival because we have been sponsoring 16 people from around the world to come here and take part in the OK Festival. And the reason why we're doing that is because we think it's important to have an end-to-end transparency in the aid system. So we are reporting to something called the International Aid Transparency Initiative, which is the standard. And we do that because we want to increase our credibility. We want to work with aid in a more effective way. We also want to decrease corruption. And for us, it's really important now to see that it's not just us being open to the taxpayers, but we also want to see that this data can be used on the ground. So that was why we invited all these people, and made me really happy to meet them all. I'm so glad that they all could come, and yeah, I've made lots of friends this week. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Linda Raftree, and I work at Plan International in the US. And one of the highlights of the sessions for me was that we got away from just talking about data, and we talked about the role of communities, the role of civil society, the role of governments, and the role of aid agencies and development organizations in the processes of opening and being more transparent and more accountable. So I thought that was interesting. I thought it was good that we talked about the IATI initiative around aid transparency, but we also took it much broader, and we talked about human rights. We talked about how data can influence and support work around human rights. And I also like the session around the idea of whether this concept that we're talking about here of being open is really accessible to everyone, or if it's only really accessible to a number of people who have certain conditions or have certain level of certain economic conditions. So I like the open accessibility stream, because we really talked about what about those people who don't have access to mobile phones and to internet, and who don't have normally a voice in the development process, and how can we include them. Thank you.
And finally, I'd just like to say thank you so much to everyone who's been involved in the stream, from the contributors to the guest programmers to the people who had the vision and the generosity to support this stream. So that's the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, the SIDA, and the Ministry for Foreign Affairs, Finland. And thank you all so much to you for being involved with our stream. Thank you.